Let's jump right into this explainer. We're looking at a genuinely groundbreaking approach to education right now. It's the Nakornpayap International School, or NIS, middle school AI curriculum, and it's brilliantly titled Architects of Inquiry. Listen, this is absolutely not just about teaching kids how to type into a chat box. Instead, we're talking about a comprehensive framework that literally transforms students from passive tech consumers into critical, thoughtful architects of inquiry. Because think about it, for decades, education has been all about finding the right answer, right? Well, that paradigm has completely shifted. As this curriculum points out, an AI can spit out an answer for you in, 3 seconds? So the true measure of learning today, the real survival skill of the modern age, is actually about the quality of the questions you ask, and obviously your ability to verify those results. So to unpack this, we'll go through the 4 foundational parts of this curriculum. Number 1, the engine room. Number 2, the prompt laboratory. Number 3, the interrogation room. And finally, number 4, the worksheet workflow. All right, section 1, the engine room. Subtitle here is The Mechanics of the Guessing Machine.
To really understand this guessing machine, we've got to pull back the curtain. You know, the biggest misconception out there, for students and adults honestly, is that AI is this omniscient brain or some digital library of cold hard facts. Yeah, it's not. It has no soul, no brain, and zero actual comprehension. In fact, an AI doesn't even see whole words like you and I do. It breaks language down into these little chunks called tokens. Think of tokens as the Lego bricks of language. Imagine a giant jar of jelly beans, right? And that jar represents all the training data scraped from the internet. When you ask a question, the AI just reaches in and grabs the most probable next token based on the patterns it learned from that massive jar.
Just to put a quick number on it, one token is roughly 4 characters long. So take a word like friendship, the AI might break that into 2 tokens, friend and ship. It then uses these complex mathematical knobs and dials, which we call parameters, to literally just guess which token should logically come next. And basically, the more parameters an AI has, the more intelligent its guesses happen to sound.
And this is where it gets cool, because it illustrates exactly how we can manipulate that guessing machine. Inside this metaphorical engine room, there's a dial called temperature. If you set that temperature super low, say 0.1, the AI is boring. It's safe. It's always going to pick the most mathematically likely word. But if you crank that dial up to a high temperature, like 2.0, the AI gets creative. It gets risky, and honestly, sometimes just plain weird, picking far less likely words. And teaching this is brilliant because it proves to the student that the AI is merely simulating knowledge, it doesn't actually possess it.
Moving on to Section 2, the prompt laboratory, engineering the perfect ask.
So, in this laboratory phase, the secret is simple. A boring question is always going to yield a boring answer. Remember, the AI is just predicting the next word, right? So giving it a highly structured set of instructions ensures it predicts exactly what you need it to. To build that perfect ask, students are taught the CAST framework. That's C for context, give the AI a role, like act as a NASA scientist. A for action, define the exact task. S for style, set the tone, maybe ask for bullet points suitable for a middle schooler. And T, which is definitely my favorite, targeted restraints. These are explicit rules on what the AI must not do. So a student explicitly commands the AI, hey, do not solve the problem for me. Do not write the final essay. Talk about a game changer. It instantly turns the AI into a personalized tutor instead of just a cheat code.
The curriculum also dives into some slightly more advanced techniques. For instance, students experiment with persona shifts. They get to see firsthand how asking a 1920s school teacher versus a scientist from the year 3000 completely changes the output. And then there's the chain of thought technique. By just dropping in the magic phrase, think step by step, they actually force that guessing machine to follow a logical, reasoned path before jumping to its final prediction. Pretty neat, right?
All right, Section 3, the interrogation room, spotting the fluent liar.
Now this room is the ultimate test of digital literacy. Have you ever tried leading the witness with an AI? Well, the curriculum encourages students to do exactly that by asking it about a totally fake historical event. They're told to ask, what was the Great Pizza Riot of Chiang Mai in 1924? Because the prompt implies that the event is real, the AI's pattern matching just kicks right in. And sure enough, it often invents this highly detailed, incredibly convincing history of a pizza riot that absolutely never happened.
When the AI conjures up this fake history just to please you, it perfectly exposes the trap of what they call the fluent liar. You've probably heard the term AI hallucination. See, if you ask a guessing machine for a fact it doesn't know, it almost never says, "Gee, I don't know." It just confidently guesses the most likely sounding lie. Learning to spot this is an absolutely crucial evaluative skill.
And the thing is, it's not just making up facts. It's actively inheriting our human flaws. By comparing the outputs for a prompt like describe a typical computer scientist versus describe a typical digital literacy teacher, students easily spot hidden biases. Remember that jelly bean jar? The AI learned from the internet, which means it soaked up all our human stereotypes regarding gender, age, background, the whole shebang. Doing this hands-on experiment really drives home why source vetting is absolutely essential.
Which brings us to Section 4, the worksheet workflow, application and verification.
Here is where all that theory becomes actual practice. The AI worksheet template integrates everything we've talked about into real-world digital citizenship scenarios, actually pulling from great frameworks like commonsense.org. But here's the kicker. Before a single prompt is even typed, the curriculum enforces a golden rule called the parental protocol. Before using AI, or any tech for that matter, to solve a real-life problem, students must first consult a trusted human expert, a parent, a teacher, a counselor. It teaches them that turning to an algorithm for a quick-fix shortcut to human problems is a really dangerous habit. Human connection literally has to precede algorithmic assistance.
Once they've done that, the students work through a rigorous step-by-step blueprint. First, they summarize the case file. Then they complete that parental protocol, human consultation. Next, they run a control test, which is basically just a lazy prompt where they tell the AI to fix their problem. After that, they do the CAST engineering we talked about. Finally, they compare the verdict. The visual contrast between the failure of their lazy shortcut and the success of an educational engineered prompt makes the value of these skills undeniably clear to them.
And to fully cement this learning, the absolute final step is real-world verification. The overarching rule here is trust nothing. Students have to leave the AI interface entirely. They are required to run separate search queries to find authentic, primary research online to back up whatever the AI claimed. And there's a strict constraint on this. No dictionaries, no encyclopedias, and definitely no Wikipedia. They have to dig up the real evidence themselves, proving once and for all that they are no longer just passive users.
All of this builds to such a profound realization. The tokens and parameters in the engine room, the CAST framework in the prompt lab, those tricky hallucination traps in the interrogation room, they are all just training grounds. Because the ultimate algorithm this curriculum is actually fine-tuning, it isn't hosted on some massive server in a data center. It's the student's own critical mind.
It is just a fascinating lens through which to view education today. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to think about your own daily interactions with artificial intelligence. When you type into that chat box, are you simply accepting whatever the fluent liar hands you? In a world filled with instant answers, are you just a passive consumer, or are you ready to become an architect of inquiry? Keep asking those high-quality questions, and we'll catch you next time.